This podcast is a conscious effort to fight the impending darkness that surrounds us by filling that void with light. Here we focus on truths that surround us, whether found in myth, ancient text, scripture, literature, basically voices from the past and present. Together we will find the traces, pull the threads, and follow the sparks along the way. Welcome to Reflecting Light, and here is your host, Mandy Green.
Hello and welcome to Reflecting Light, our special Valentine's Day edition. Last week we spoke about agape, and I promise I won't keep saying chesed over and over with a Hebrew pronunciation. But we spoke about agape, and today I wanted to focus on Eros because truly it is the life force. Eros in Greek is a concept in Greek philosophy that does refer to sensual or passionate love, but it also, in a much wider sense, is an equivalent to life energy. It's one of these pillars of love. C.S. Lewis defines it this way, and I'm going to go with his definition. There's a lot of ways we could look at it, but in his book, The Four Loves, on page 94, he said, "Sexual desire without Eros wants it, the thing in itself. Eros wants the beloved." Now, Eros makes a man really want not a woman, but one particular woman. And of course, this can be arranged however you'd like it. In some mysterious but quite indisputable fashion, the lover desires the beloved herself, not the pleasure she can give. So Eros is more than just desire for it, quote unquote, trying to be delicate, but desire for a particular something. Plato, it was said that the soul was split at the beginning of time and that you're looking for the other half of your soul and that two souls become one. And this is the physical representation of two beings becoming one flesh, as we read about in the beginning of time with Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. The Encyclopedia Britannica also says, although erotic love has frequently been understood primarily as sexual desire and passion, its classical religious and philosophical meaning was the idealistic desire to acquire the highest spiritual and intellectual good. So there's something more to Eros and desire and passion than simply acquiring it. Rumi has some pretty awesome love advice. Now, I want to say off the bat, we're just going to read some delicious love poetry today. But I want to say that if you find yourself out of love or out of favor or in between or still searching for that aspect in your life, just enjoy the poems. Please, everyone, just go buy a beautiful love poetry book and enjoy what love really is about. I think it has some very, very deep spiritual roots, but there's more to it than desire. You are built a certain way, and there's something to that. There's something that manifests that can be part of the divine. But wherever you find yourself this Valentine's Day, I'm going to have poems for in love, out of love. I emphasized English literature in my college studies, so we'll look at some really beautiful English poems. But I love Rumi's love advice here. He said, "Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it." And then he continues on to say, "The minute I heard my first love story, I started looking for you, not knowing how blind that was. Lovers don't finally meet somewhere. They're in each other all along." And from another one of his poems, he said, "I want to see you, know your voice, recognize you when you first come round the corner, sense your scent when I come into a room you've just left, know the lift of your heel, the glide of your foot." Beautiful stuff. So for today, I'm just going to indulge and read some beautiful love poetry. I just want you to enjoy it. If you have a significant other, here you go. And if you don't, that's what poems are built for. Mr. Darcy says that poetry is the food of love. We'll start with The Indian Serenade by Percy Bysshe Shelley. I arise from dreams of thee in the first sweet sleep of night, when the winds are breathing low and the stars are shining bright. I arise from dreams of thee, and a spirit in my feet hath led me, who knows how, to thy chamber sweet. The wandering airs they faint on the dark, the silent stream, the champak odors fail, like sweet thoughts in a dream. The nightingale's complaint, it dies upon her heart, as I must die on thine, O beloved, as thou art. O lift me from the grass, I die, I faint, I fail. Let thy love and kisses rain on my lips and eyelids pale. My cheek is cold and white, alas, my heart beats loud and fast. O press it close to thine again, where it will break at last. Sonnet 116 by William Shakespeare. This is a very deep sonnet. It really, maybe someday we'll break it all apart, but a lot here. Let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Love is not love which alters when it alteration finds, or bends with the remover to remove. Oh no, it is an ever fixed mark that looks on tempest and is never shaken. It is the star to every wandering bark, whose worth's unknown, although his height be taken. Love is not time's fool, though rosy lips and cheeks within his bending sickle's compass come. Love alters not with his brief hours and weeks, but bears it out even to the edge of doom. If this be error, and upon me proved, I never writ, nor no man ever loved. This one's called Somewhere I Have Never Traveled Gladly Beyond by E. E. Cummings. Man, this is all just such good stuff. Somewhere I have never traveled, gladly beyond any experience, your eyes have their silence. In your most frail gesture are things which enclose me, or which I cannot touch because they are too near. Your slightest look easily will enclose me, though I have closed myself as fingers. You open always petal by petal, myself as spring opens, touching skillfully, mysteriously, her first rose. Or, if your wish be to close me, I and my life will shut very beautifully, suddenly, as when the heart of this flower imagines the snow carefully everywhere descending. Nothing which we are to perceive in this world equals the power of your intense fragility, whose texture compels me with the color of its countries, rendering death and forever with each breathing. I do not know what it is about you that closes and opens. Only something in me understands. The voice of your eyes is deeper than all roses. Nobody, not even the rain, has such small hands. And of course, a podcast would not be a podcast without Rilke. Or Isaiah. We'll take Rilke this week. This is his love song. How shall I hold my soul so that it may not be touching yours? How can I raise it high enough past you to other things? I would like to shelter it among remote lost objects in some dark and silent place that doesn't resonate when your depths resonate. Yet everything that touches us, me and you, draws us together like a violin's bow, which draws one voice out of two separate strings. Upon what instrument have we been spanned? And what violinist holds us in his hand? Oh, sweetest song. All right, here we have Robert Barrett Browning. If you gentlemen are looking for a good poem for your wife, this is a great one. This is called My Wife. Trusty, dusky, vivid, true. with eyes of gold and bramble dew, steel true and blade straight, the great artificer made my mate. Honor, anger, valor, fire, a love that life could never tire, doth quench or evil stir, the mighty master gave to her. Teacher, tender, comrade, wife, a fellow farer true through life, heart whole and soul free, the august Father gave to me. And for you ladies, here's one, To My Dear and Loving Husband by Anne Bradstreet. If ever two were one, then surely we. If ever man were loved by wife, then thee. If ever wife was happy in a man, compare with me, ye women, if ye can. I prize thy love more than whole mines of gold, or all the riches that the east doth hold. My love is such that rivers cannot quench, nor aught but love from thee give recompense. Thy love is such I can no way repay. The heavens reward thee manifold, I pray. Then while we live in love, so let's persevere, that when we live no more, we may live ever. If you are feeling unrequited love, here's a few for you. This is a more modern one by Robert Creeley called Love Comes Quietly. Love comes quietly, finally. Drops about me, on me, in the old ways. What did I know thinking about myself, able to go alone all the way? And here's one called The More Loving One by W.H. Auden. I love his poetry. I love all of these poets. If you've ever felt like the more loving one, then this one is for you. Looking up at the stars, I know quite well that for all they care, I can go to hell. But on earth indifference is the least we have to dread from man or beast. How should we like it were stars to burn with a passion for us we could not return? If equal affection cannot be, let the more loving one be me. Admire as I think I am of stars that do not give a damn. I cannot, now I see them, say, I missed one terribly all day. Were all stars to disappear or die, I should learn to look at an empty sky and feel its total dark sublime, though this might take me a little time. Time is always a great thing when it comes to love. This one's called Longing by Matthew Arnold. I love this poem. I love all of these poems. Who are we kidding? This one, though, along with what we talked about last week, I've been trying to reframe in terms of love for the divine, blurring that line. So you can read this as a lover or in whatever way you'd like to. Longing by Matthew Arnold. Come to me in my dreams, and then by day I shall be well again. For so the night will more than pay the hopeless longings of the day. Come as thou camest 1,000 times, a messenger from radiant climes, and smile on thy new world and be as kind to others as to me. Or as thou never camest in sooth, come now, and let me dream in truth, and part my hair and kiss my brow, and say, my love, why sufferest thou? Come to me in my dreams, and then by day I shall be well again, for so the night will more than pay the hopeless longings of the day. I recommend Maud, Part 1 by Alfred Lord Tennyson. I recommend To His Coy Mistress by Andrew Marvell. The Mad Girl's Love Song, If You Are in a Breakup by Sylvia Plath. Excellent poem. We'll just read a few more. This one's called Annabel Lee. I had this wonderful book I got in college called Immortal Poems of the English Language. And because I'm not very smart, I always thought it said immoral poems of the English language. So these are not the immoral poems of the English language, but I'll stop there. All right. Edgar Allan Poe. It was many and many a year ago, in a kingdom by the sea, that a maiden there lived, whom you may know by the name of Annabel Lee. And this maiden she lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me. I was a child and she was a child in this kingdom by the sea, but we loved with a love that was more than love, I and my Annabelle Lee, with the love that the winged seraphs in heaven coveted her and me. And this was the reason that long ago in this kingdom by the sea, a wind blew out of a cloud, chilling my beautiful Annabelle Lee, so that our high-born kinsman came and bore her away from me to shut her up in a sepulchre in this kingdom by the sea. The angels, not half so happy in heaven, went envying her and me. Yes, that was the reason, as all men know in this kingdom by the sea, that the wind came out of the cloud by night, chilling and killing my Annabelle Lee. But our love, it was stronger by far than the love of those who were older than we, of many far wiser than we. And neither the angels in heaven above, nor the demons down under the sea, can ever dissever my soul from the soul of the beautiful Annabelle Lee. For the moon never beams without bringing me dreams of the beautiful Annabelle Lee. And the stars never rise, but I feel the bright eyes of the beautiful Annabelle Lee. And so all the night tide, I lay down by my side of my darling, my life and my bride, in her sepulchre there by the sea, in her tomb by the sounding sea. You maybe didn't know Poe wrote such beautiful poetry. Let's read one from Neruda. Neruda has beautiful love poetry. This is poem, I think, 44. You must know that I do not love and that I love you, because everything alive has its two sides. A word is one wing of the silence. Fire has its cold half. I love you in order to begin to love you, to start infinity again and never to stop loving you. That's why I do not love you yet. I love you and I do not love you as if I held keys in my hand to a future of joy, a wretched, muddled fate. My love has two lives. In order to love you, that's why I love you when I do not love you, and also why I love you when I do. This one's pretty famous. I just want to keep reading Neruda, so maybe we'll just go with it. I really love poem 27. That one's one for the ages. But we'll read this one. Is 17. I do not love you as if you were salt rose or topaz, or the arrow of carnations the fire shoots off. I love you as certain dark things are to be loved, in secret, between the shadow and the soul. I love you as the plant that never blooms but carries in itself the light of hidden flowers. Thanks to your love, a certain solid fragrance, risen from the earth, lives darkly in my body. I love you without knowing how or when or from where. I love you straightforwardly, without complexities or pride. So I love you because I know no other way than this, where I does not exist, nor you, so close that your hand on my chest is my hand, so close that your eyes close as I fall asleep. My dear friends, my lovely listeners, I wish you a wonderful Valentine's Day. If you find yourself alone, or for those who are widowed or without their beloved, I would quote Rumi one last time and say, my dear, beautiful listeners, I wish you a love-filled holiday in whatever form it takes. To conclude, I will quote Rumi by saying, goodbyes are only for those who love with their eyes, because for those who love with heart and soul, there is no such thing as separation. Wishing you a wonderful, love-filled or angst-filled, whatever your Eros is, holiday, love, and light.
Thank you for joining us. We hope this episode lit a spark inside of you. For show notes and other information, please visit our website, reflectinglight.org. And if you feel this program illuminated your mind or heart, consider making a donation to fund further episodes. Until next time.